This program is part of the Cosmic Potato Podcast Network. For more shows like this, visit our website at cosmicpotato.com.
Hey, listen!
All right, you guys, podcast time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario!
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G episode 193. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Colton.
Yay!
Yay, Colton's back.
The Anointed One's back. He has returned.
Prodigal son after 2 weeks.
Welcome back to the fold.
After 2 weeks of, having a life and doing things.
Yeah.
I can't really relate to that.
No, not at all. Actually, when we're not on the episode or recording or something, I'm just usually just sitting somewhere in a corner and waiting.
I never leave this room. I'm sitting here in front of the microphone just waiting for you guys to come back.
And then once we actually walk in, he's just kind of smiling, just sitting there with his looking at us.
Okay. So we're going to do another copyright segment. Now, if you're not familiar, these copyright segments, Colton came up with this idea, and it's basically stealing a question from another more successful podcast or YouTube channel or that sort of thing.
It's the most endearing form of, flattery.
It is.
Yeah.
Imitation. So we're copying it, but we're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
That was the idea. And this one comes from Good Mythical Morning. I was watching some old episodes. And the question is, if you could time travel back to, and this is backwards now, not forwards, backwards,
okay,
to any year in history, what year would you time travel back to?
And, of course, would be using the DeLorean.
Of course.
But it was really kind of funny because when you posed this question, you'd also send another text. You're like, be ready to defend.
Yeah.
To the death, basically, is what it was.
Debate. Argue. All that good stuff. Or just say, yeah, that's a good pick. So,
well,
AJ, why don't you go first?
All right. I'm going to go with the Roaring 20s. Back to the 20s, it felt to me like a really good time to be alive. Before, I mean, it started with a roar and ended with a crash.
Yes, it did. Quite literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But during that time, it felt like everybody was innovating and coming up with new ideas, and it didn't seem like everything had been discovered just yet. And even if it was something stupid or it wasn't practical and it didn't seem like it would work, they still built it. They still went ahead and tried making it and coming up with these different inventions, as well as it's also been referred to as the Jazz Age, and I love me some jazz music, so I don't know, that swanky, old-time kind of a feel. Even the cars were pretty cool. And, the people always walking around in, suits and looking snazzy and dapper. And I use a lot of those, terminology all the time. So I feel like...
snazzy and dapper?
Yeah. So I feel like I would just, fit right in. Plus...
Yeah, the bee's knees, kid.
I feel like it would be so much easier to rob a bank.
True.
And to get away with crime and stuff. And I feel like I could succeed in that.
It was a lawless time, the 20s.
Yeah. Which would be kind of cool. I mean, outlawish, because all you had to do is just be faster than them. There wasn't all this other technology, and they can't pinpoint your location and connect DNA and...
Yeah. Well, for me...
It's more so for bank robbing, though. I'd love to.
I think the 20s were a great time for people like you, for... People like to go out and do things.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a lot of things to do at home. For me, my personality, I would have hated the 20s.
I just got this stupid radio here.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can do to keep
There's nothing.
company.
Yeah.
No video games. There's no
movies hadn't really been in. I mean, there was, but they were the silent ones.
Yeah.
Troy's
words. I had to read.
I have to read this nonsense. actually be like, what is this magical thing?
Yeah, this picture box you have here.
I don't know. The 20s just always seemed a little boring to me, personally.
That's because everything was in black and white. So
Well, that is the problem.
yeah, it was in color.
So you just want to go back to experience that time period as someone who was back there.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I'd just like fit seamlessly into the process, and it would be awesome to just try to come up with new ideas. Plus, if I had my knowledge now going back then, you could, I don't know, kind of pull a Cliff, what's his bucket, off Back to the Future, where he kind of uses the
Biff Tannen.
Thank you. Yeah, just kind of, set yourself up pretty good back then.
Okay, so no year in particular, just the 20s themselves?
Yeah, before before October 29th, 1929.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I have a lot more selfish reasons to want to go back to the specific time that I chose. And I feel like a lot of people would. Like, it would be nice to go back and experience a time period that I really think would be cool. But I'm a lot more selfish than that. So I would like to go back to December 24th, 2009.
Wow, you even have
Microsoft.
a particular day.
Right? Is that what it is?
No, actually, something a lot easier. So the reason why I would go back to that specific date is because it's the day before Christmas, and I always get a lot of money on Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2010, there was a guy who bought 2 large pizzas from Papa John's for 10,000 Bitcoin. So 10,000 Bitcoin was worth roughly $30 or so.
Okay.
And I usually end up getting 150 or so for Christmas just in cash. And then my birthday is the next month. So I would go back on December 24th, get the money for Christmas, and then wait another 30 days to get my birthday money. And then I would spend all of that on Bitcoin, because right now that 10,000 Bitcoins is worth roughly $84 million as it stands. And I would just love to set myself up. Yeah. And it's so easy. All you got to do is buy it, and then you just sit on it for 8 years. And you're a billionaire almost.
Interesting.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty selfish. I'm kind of like Troy. I don't want to go out and do things.
Right, yeah.
I just want
to have enough money,
passive
then you
income
can
to set myself up for life.
We don't want to go out and swing dance with the flappers. There's not much I can argue with that, honestly. That's pretty well thought out.
Yes.
Though I will say, though, is Bitcoin still... I mean, is that still the percentage? Is that still the cost?
One coin is worth $6,500 right now.
Is it?
So 10,000 coins would be... Let's just do this math real quick.
10,000. He needs like one of those visors.
So
receipts coming out.
So $30 worth of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin right back then is worth $65 million right now.
Oh, there you go.
Jeez.
All right.
And I could probably scrape together more than $30 worth of Bitcoin.
Well, with the birthday and Christmas and everything money. I like how you don't even like have your own money to do it. You're just like you wait for your birthday.
Yeah, but why? Yeah. Why would I use my own money? And then like my parents would be like, "You're wasting your money," and I'll be like, "Okay, say that when I buy you a house."
An island.
Fair enough.
I mean, I was tempted to get into Bitcoin like 2 years ago, and I'm really kicking myself for not, because I would have sold when it got up to 19,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, but
I did not.
Is that the first thing that you'd buy with it? Buy your parents a house? Or go to Disneyland? You already have big plans for the money? You have big plans for how you'd get the money, but as far as like actually spending it?
Probably a lawyer, first and foremost.
Okay.
One that's really good with financial stuff.
Yeah. Sort of a financial lawyer, if you will.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Better Call Saul.
Title?
That is a thing, yes.
Okay. But I don't know. And it wouldn't matter, because I could buy whatever I want.
Yeah.
Just whenever it tickles my fancy. You know, I want to buy a Ferrari today. I'm going to do a Ferrari today. Buy it with cash.
Lease it. That's a much better way to do it. Just saying. Like, nobody that has, like, those really super nice cars, any of those football, like, players or sports or celebrities and stuff, they just lease the car. Yeah, they're not going to own it. Because it's depreciation. That's what you're finding out.
Well, you can tell. You can tell what AJ.
Thank you, fiduciary.
You can tell what AJ does for a living, can't you?
Right?
That's funny.
He's trying to lease me a Ferrari right now, guys.
I really am.
He's got the paperwork.
Actually, it would be an Audi. I'm just saying.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, it's I wouldn't go back for greed or for anything like that. Although I could,
or notoriety is what I'm thinking.
I could take advantage of that. I'm sure.
Going back to 9/11, like be on the plane. Save the day.
They did that on Family Guy once. I would go back to this particular year for strictly pop culture reasons.
Okay.
And the year would be 1985. Not just because that was the year that I was born, so and you as well.
Yeah. So you go back and see yourself.
I don't want to see myself be born. No. You know, kind of paradox that would lead to years of therapy.
You see yourself, you make eye contact with your baby self of you.
Then I implode. No, I would go back because to me, 1985, it was kind of a turning point in culture, in pop culture.
Yeah.
It really was. It was a cultural milestone where things started to happen, things that are still popular today happened in 1985. Some of the biggest movies of all time came out in 1985. Mm-hmm. Some of the biggest TV shows of all time came out in 1985.
Yeah. And to be able to see them on the big screen for the first time, like, that they were even out.
Yeah.
You have, like, a ticket stub of, like, Star Wars, you know?
Or Back to the Future is what I would think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What I was thinking. But yeah, it's just, I've done a lot of research and a lot of things, culturally significant things happened in 1985. For example, the first band to record for a CD happened in 1985. It was the Dire Straits. Now there were CDs before that, but they just ported, records and cassettes onto CD. Okay. Did that way. But the first band actually put an album on CD and for CD was in 1985.
Is that the technology that it's still utilized today? Not as much, but it was kind of a big thing. Yeah.
And so, just really quick here. Here are some of the big movies of 1985. Back to the Future, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Rocky IV, The Color Purple, Out of Africa, Cocoon, The Jewel of the Nile, Witness, The Goonies, Spies Like Us. Here's the most popular television series. The Cosby Show, Family Ties, Murder, She Wrote, 60 Minutes, Cheers, Dallas, Dynasty, The Golden Girls, Miami Vice, Who's the Boss? Popular music, Aretha Franklin, Billy Ocean, Bruce Springsteen, Bryan Adams.
Can you imagine going to their concerts live?
I know.
Right?
Madonna, Prince, Stevie Wonder, George Michael, Tears for Fears, Phil Collins.
Well, it'd be really cool because you would already know which bands are going to make it big, right? And a lot of these, you could see them in these small little venues where they only have couple hundred people.
Yeah.
Right? Before they hit it big.
The Titanic was found in 1985. 370 miles from Newfoundland.
So what you're basically saying is...
Tommy Hilfiger...
the best year ever.
It is. Tommy Hilfiger started selling his own menswear clothesline in 1985. Ferris Bueller's actual day off, quote-unquote, was June 5th, 1985. Tim Burton made his directorial debut and Danny Elfman his film scoring debut in 1985 with Pee-wee's Big Adventure. There are so many things. The Live Aid concerts, some of the biggest concerts in history, happened in 1985.
Yeah.
It was just this weird shift in culture, in pop culture, in music, movies, television. Everything just kind of turned a 180 in 1985. And so I'd like to be there. I mean, technically I was there, but I don't remember.
Right.
Because I was only a few months old. But I'd like to be there as a cognitive adult and actually experience all these things with people experiencing them for the first time. I think that'd be really cool.
But it's so crazy because we today, you know, like down the road, if somebody were to say, hey, a real pinnacle turning point for all these different things is 2018, you know, we'd be there, but are we appreciative or do we know that like something's big's happening?
Well, I think you realize that a few years down the line.
Yeah.
Like, I won't get political, but with the current administration, that'll be talked about for years. I mean, this administration will be talked about the same way like Nixon was.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there'll be movies made about it and that sort of thing.
They're like, wait, this guy that was in television became your president?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And so,
well, even like with the previous president, you know, that was a pretty big
thing. Yeah.
Big thing, yeah.
And so, but I do think that it seems like it happens about every 30 years or so that humanity takes another takes kind of this cultural shift. It seems like, and so we're kind of due for another one here pretty quick.
It will happen.
It'll happen. Always does. It happened like back in before 85. It was like, around 63, 64 with, the Beatles and the rock and roll. I sound like an old man. Rock and roll and that sort of thing. The whole, you know, cultural just kind of shifted with that music and yeah. Anyway. That's just my
it's a pretty good pick.
Philosophy. But anyway.
I like it.
I did put this out on Facebook and nobody answered because surprise, surprise, nobody responded. So let's take a break and then we come back. We'll get to our news stories and
everything else.
Other things.
Now we're gonna have a break. Message time we're gonna take.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
We go back to the fun. Message time is over and done.
And we're back. Whoa.
Jinx.
I really wanted to take that from you.
Coming to you live in stereo.
We were talking about this like off the air that Colton wants to go back. You know, we should go back and just before the guy that did the first high fives.
Just high five right in front of him.
Yeah. Take that away from
shatter his world.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what you want to do with me?
Yes.
Want to steal my podcast high five?
Basically. So, The Conjuring 3 has itself, is in the works and has itself a new director. I know you're pretty stoked for this. I really feel like they've already explored this and they've connected like them together and that they should just be done with it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's run its course.
They do this all the time with horror films, though, because the first one was really good. The first Conjuring.
Yes,
that's the first.
Different.
It was different, and it was the first time I can genuinely remember being scared in a movie theater, and that never happens to me.
Oh, especially
ever.
That scene where he's kind of like looking out there, or he's watching the videotape, and then it kind of comes out at you on the screen. That was like pretty terrifying. Or even the dude that like walks by while he's like sitting in his study.
Yeah. And what got me was the hand clap.
Oh.
The arms coming out and clapping.
Yes.
That got me.
Yeah.
And I was alone in the theater at the time, so.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. But, and they, just like horror movies do, they take that good idea and they just stretch it as far as they can.
And they don't, they're not consistent with the director. I know that, a new director can sometimes breathe fresh life. And, they're still going to have James Wan on site as kind of a co-director. Mm-hmm. But... yeah, he's giving the reins over to somebody else. But I feel like they kind of missed the mark, or they think that they're like, oh, this is how I interpreted the Conjuring in the first and second one, and this is what I'm going to do with the third. And it goes completely.
It's like away. Force Awakens and The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's somebody else's interpretation, and I get that, and I can understand that, but it gets lost in translation far too often. Unfortunately, I'll still probably end up seeing it. I hated the fourth Purge. That was my least favorite of the bunch.
Yeah, they didn't do much.
No,
that failed pretty bad.
Blumhouse is kind of I used to. To me, they used to be my Will Smith. I would go watch anything that he was in, and it was awesome, and it was amazing, Men in Black, and Independence Day, and some of these ones, I'm just he is amazing. Even Enemy of the State was fantastic. Yeah. And then he kind of started going downhill.
Yeah. Then he makes a Men in Black 3, and A Pursuit of Happiness and Wild West. And
okay, The Pursuit of Happiness was decent.
And 7 Pounds.
Yeah.
That's true. 7 Pounds was pretty good.
Concussion?
Really good.
Yeah.
Concussion? Nah.
Concussion didn't do anything.
No.
I tried to watch it. I didn't get through it. I didn't get through the whole thing.
I didn't make it through the whole movie either.
No.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Blumhouse.
Speaking of horror films.
Right? The first images of the new Pet Semetary have arrived. Did you guys get a chance to look at these?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the cat?
Well, the cat looks mad.
It looks mad, but it almost looks fake or like it's gonna talk.
Yeah.
If you really
I could see that.
If you're really looking at it, it looks kind of terrifying and menacing, but at the same time,
it doesn't look dead.
It doesn't look dead, or it doesn't look real.
Don't all cats look menacing and I fear for my life 24 hours a day. The ones
constantly,
I have.
Yeah. You wake up and there's 3 or 4 of them on your chest.
You're
suffocating you.
You're not far off.
Hogging the bed.
But I haven't even seen the original one.
Really?
I've seen the first 10 minutes of it.
I've seen it, and I've also the book was I can honestly say that was the first book that actually scared me.
Yeah.
It was pretty terrifying, and I'm Stephen King's amazing, and he's also gone the way of Will Smith.
Yeah, gone the way of Will Smith.
Uh-huh. But yeah. I'm pretty stoked because this is the same directors that did It, the first It.
Yeah.
They were given the reins to do this one. So I think they'll do a fantastic job with it. So,
there's also been some images of the It sequel that have hit the internet, and with a few of the cast and everything, and apparently that's shaping up pretty good as well. So
you saw the first one, right?
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
And
saw it a couple times.
It was really well done.
It was.
I thought. Not super terrifying, and I did like that they really played up the idea that it wasn't just one thing. It took on their fear.
Yeah.
And
no, it wasn't scary so much. It was it had a lot of tension to it. Yeah. And it really built up. It was like Jaws that way. You saw Pennywise or it every once in a while, but wasn't a lot until they finally got to the very end and went down the sewer. Then they had the climax, but yeah.
One of the best scenes, or one of my favorite ones, is where that kid's in the library and then he starts going downstairs. Mm-hmm. I'm what is he thinking?
Yeah. Who the heck follows a balloon that seemingly is moving of its own volition?
Down into a dark basement library or library basement.
My favorite scene
was a good one.
Was when the one kid was out in the alleyway and then the doors started opening there were fingers coming out of hell or whatever.
Yeah.
That one was...
Those to me were kind of the ones from Slavery is what it kind of looked like, or like different horrible things that took place in that barn or that building, the side of the building. That was pretty. And they even got a fantastic job. It reminded me a lot of what's the TV show? The kids.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Thank you. It were like the bully that they got, where he's like cutting his name into the kid. Yeah. Like they did a fantastic job with casting in this movie. So
they did.
I'm looking forward to the second one, and even Pet Semetary.
And one of the Stranger Things kids is in it.
Yeah,
that's right. Yep.
Which those kids played well off of each other. It was like reminiscent of the Goonies. Mm-hmm. They had great chemistry, and like, I mean, that's exactly how it was, or how, you know, I was with like my friends would like make like stupid jokes that we thought were hilarious that nobody else would really get, or our parents would be like, "All right, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, and you'd ride around the neighborhood on your bikes, and
yeah.
And that It movie reignited my love for horror films. Because now I just want to watch. I want to be scared. Yeah, and like I'm really considering reading like Stephen King novels and other scary books.
Yeah,
just to get my scare fix.
It's 'tis the season. You know, Halloween's just around the corner.
That is true. All right. So this may be interesting for some. Certainly is for me. Star Trek Discovery Season 2 premiere date confirmed at New York Comic-Con.
Oh, they're still allowed to say Comic-Con.
Yeah, well...
They haven't been sued yet.
Yeah, San Diego didn't come after them. But yeah, we have the date. It premieres on January 17th, 2019. I'm certainly excited for it because they are starting to merge into the timeline of the first series. The very end of season 1, spoilers, they run into the Enterprise.
Okay.
That's the last shot of the season.
They kind of crash into the side of it?
No. Which for an old Trekkie like me, very exciting.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Like the Han Solo movie when you're seeing, you know, Darth Maul up here, kind of reminiscent of that.
Yeah, kind of. Okay. Kind of. But I really like Star Trek Discovery. It's very polarizing to a lot of Star Trek fans. Like, I really like it, but my mom is a little so-so on it. You know, it's either you really like it or you really don't.
There's not like you're not on the fence typically. Yeah. Is this one that you do have to have a subscription to in order to watch? Or?
You have to have the CBS app.
Oh, just the app itself. Okay.
Yeah, I think you do have to pay for the app, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly. I think you do.
You can find it under a tree somewhere.
Yeah.
The episodes.
Yeah. Yeah. You can hop on your pirate ship and you can sail the 7 seas and find it. It's pretty easy. But yeah, I should have looked it up. There was a lot of things that came out from New York Comic Con. Did you guys see that extended look at Aquaman?
Yes.
That 5-minute
like kind of
trailer, basically, or clip.
Yeah.
I think it looks pretty dang good.
It does. I'm actually pretty stoked for it. And I thought for some reason that they were actually kind of not canceling this movie. They're going to go forward with it, but this is going to be kind of the end, and then they're going to revamp it and retry again.
That's what I've heard. But again, you know, those DC rumors.
Yeah.
Because they have this one. Then they have Shazam coming out.
Right.
Then they have Wonder Woman 2. And I don't know if they're going to have Justice League 2 or not. Or Man of Steel 2. Probably not at this point.
Mm-hmm. Or even a Batman.
Yeah, who knows?
Begin kind of a...
But I'm actually fine with that. If they start to steer away from Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and the big three and focus on the lesser known characters, I'm fine with it.
Oh, same here.
You know, I think that is where DC could really up their game.
And especially because they have the average Joe has such high expectations for those specific characters.
Yes.
If you have a Batman movie, it needs to be a fantastic one. If
yes.
you have a Superman one, it needs to be fantastic. But Shazam, nobody really knows who that character is outside of the people who read the comics or like live inside that world. And so it doesn't really matter if it's a good movie or not because
they don't
are going to see it.
They don't have as big of expectations for it.
Yeah. Because everyone knows who Batman and Superman are.
And they know their origin story.
Yeah.
And
Wonder Woman and...
I know this is going from DC to Marvel, but that's what I really liked about this new Spider-Man game, which I'll give a full review later on. But he's already been in this universe for 10 plus years. So he's already been established. People already know who he is.
Skip the origin. Mm-hmm. Don't need that.
Go to something cool. Go to something new. Try some new villains that you've never done before.
Yeah. Skip the origin story for the established characters.
Yes.
One, especially because of DC, they have so many different universes. Like, your view of what Superman's origin story... his probably will never change. Let's just say Batman.
Okay.
How he becomes Batman is different than maybe mine. And because of
there's a lot of canon on those characters that...
Yeah, current canon. Mm-hmm. But there may be someone who is maybe a little older than you and has a different favorite storyline for Batman, and he's going to be disappointed for this. But there's really only one storyline for Shazam,
right?
Or the lesser, like the B characters,
right?
Or even C characters.
And I actually have a story we'll get to here in a second. But as far as Superman goes, the origin story from Man of Steel is different than, say, the origin story of The Adventures of Lois and Clark.
Right.
It's different, and that's different than the Superman movie that came out in 77 or 78, whenever it came out. My mom, and I'll use her as an example again, her Superman is Christopher Reeve.
Right.
And she didn't want to go see Man of Steel because it wasn't, quote unquote, her Superman.
Yeah.
Other people, Batman, some people like Adam West the best. Other people like Michael Keaton. Other people like Christian Bale. I don't think anybody likes Ben Affleck, but you see my point.
Yeah.
And just like you were saying, if you get a Flash movie out there, an Aquaman movie out there, no one's going to say, well, my favorite version of Aquaman was...
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been one.
There's only been the one so far.
Yeah.
It hasn't really changed so much.
You got the one in the comics, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And even if there are, they're so unpopular that no one's going to know them.
Or so obscure, so the general public's not going to know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And my point also... Excuse me, I drank that too quick. My point is also, you could ask somebody, have you ever heard the name Aquaman? And chances are they'll say, yeah. I say, okay, what's his origin?
I don't know.
Don't know.
Aquaman.
Yeah. He's Aquaman. Have you ever heard the name Green Lantern? Yeah, of course. What's his origin? I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you go Batman, oh yeah, his parents were killed in an alley, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Everybody knows him, so, yeah.
That's where DC could shine.
Yeah. But yeah, so Star Trek should be good.
Full circle.
Yep. Yeah. All right, let's take another break, and then when we come back, we'll get to a few more stories, and then a couple reviews after that. So we'll be back right after this. I beat me to it again.
I don't know, but I have heard we'll be back after this word.
On the historic streets of Ogden, there are two kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
We are back for some more. Big time action is in store.
Now we're back. Ha 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 ha. Beat you to it.
You beat us to it. We didn't get a chance to intervene.
Steal my thunder.
Mm-hmm. So, have you guys seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No.
I have, yeah.
Like, are you all caught up with this series?
I don't think I'm all caught up because I stopped so that Emily and I could catch up, but then we just haven't. But I think I went through season 4.
Wives ruin everything.
So I haven't watched season 5.
I mean, it's more of the same, and it's at first I was tentative about it, but then there was a couple of episodes that I started watching, and I'd seen like clips like on YouTube, and I'm like, this show looks pretty dang funny. I could actually get on board with it. But as far as news goes with this show, Chelsea Peretti is leaving Brooklyn Nine-Nine. She plays Gina. And in all honesty, because in the last season, they kind of said that she was pregnant, so then she only made a couple of guest appearances, and she wasn't really she was on like the last episode, but she didn't play as big of a role, and she's actually my least favorite character in this movie.
She does have some like redeeming moments in the show, but she's kind of just annoying to me, and she always has been.
Yeah.
Also, her nose takes up most of the screen, so it's hard to even watch. But I'm not going to say that I'm disappointed that she's leaving.
You were saying, Troy, talking about Andy, how this kind of redeemed him for you.
He was saying that. Colton was.
You didn't much care for Andy Samberg beforehand?
I liked some of his stuff, but I feel like a lot of his comedy is so outlandish and over the top that it just kind of turned me off.
Just kind of made him a little bit more endearing.
Yeah. I mean, I really liked Hot Rod, and that was pretty much everyone's first experience of Andy Samberg.
Right.
But all the movies that he's done, like the Adam Sandler movies since then, I wasn't a huge fan, but then I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it's a lot more subtle comedy, and I feel like it's really rounded out him as an actor, and he's found his place in comedy.
Yeah, I think because I first saw Andy Samberg on Saturday Night Live.
Okay,
that's where I saw him, and he, I think, for a while was trying to be kind of a Adam Sandler or David Spade or a Mike Myers, that kind of bigger
face.
than life, in your face comedian,
A caricature,
yeah, and he's not. When he started doing the digital shorts on SNL, that's when he really gained popularity.
Yeah.
Is because the comedy was a lot more subtle. He's excellent at writing parody songs or comedy songs. He's great with that. And so I think, I guess, and I haven't seen it, but it seems like with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he's kind of found his comedy niche. Yeah.
Agreed.
Before that, he was always playing the funny idiot, but in this show, he's actually remarkably intelligent, but he's also an idiot at the same time. Like, he's just
And it works so perfectly. Like, he can be doing stupid stuff, but at the same time, he's also able to compose himself enough to be able to solve this murder. Yeah. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but I love, like you were saying, some of the subtle humor in this show, that it's just off the wall, and you're like, if you're not listening or paying attention, this is one of those shows that you want to sit down and watch, and you can just like chill and watch, but at the same time, you have to kind of pay attention if you're going to catch any of these other little off the cuff jokes.
It definitely has a lot of rewatchability because you miss a lot of stuff your first and even second time through.
Oh yeah, agreed. So, but yeah, Gina, she's not going to be missed.
No, I don't think so either.
All right. So I found this story. Superman's been throwing some shade at Superman.
Oh, jeez.
Dean Caine, who we talked about briefly, who played Superman in Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman back in the mid-90s, was at... Let's see, where was he? And he was at some event for the 25th anniversary panel for Lois and Clark. Was he at New York Comic Con or I don't know?
Probably.
Anyway, probably. Anyway, so they started talking, and let's see where it's picked up. As reported by Comic Book Discussion, rapidly turned towards the characters of Ma and Pa Kent. Hatcher stated that when she thought of those characters, she could only see them as Kate Callan and Eddie Jones, who played them on their show. Caine was quick to agree, highlighting a particular frustration he had with the big screen franchise. He said, "Same. I don't picture Kevin Costner, no offense. By the way, why didn't Superman save him right then? Seriously, that made me so mad. I would have saved him. I'm just throwing it out there."
Wow.
First of all, Dean,
Yeah.
you know you're not actually Superman, right? Second of all, it was in the script that he didn't save him. But I don't know. I know a lot of people have issues with Man of Steel and some of those things, but
Because he didn't want to show his powers to the world.
yeah. And he was respecting his father's wishes.
Yeah. Which, that's the only father he's ever known.
Yeah.
So you gotta obey him.
And anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny. It's like, yeah, you would really have had a choice there, Dean.
Do you think, I imagine it was filled with, some applause and some, ooh,
I'm sure,
kind of a deal.
And have you noticed, Dean, no one has asked you back to play Superman?
Yeah.
So what does that tell you, Dean?
Boom.
Have I said the name Dean enough?
Just maybe. So, they actually have mac and cheese flavored candy canes now. They exist. And they look disgusting. But I'm also kind of intrigued.
Yeah.
It's like a comfort food that we all know and love. And then they put it into candy cane form.
To a candy that we eat once a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I'm skeptical of these, but I'd be willing to try them if I knew they weren't sweet. If they were savory and they tasted like Kraft mac and cheese, I might actually do it. But if it's sweet and it has this weird savory cheesy flavor, that's disgusting.
We should get a box. I think they're on either Amazon or eBay. You can buy them.
I might. I'll go ahead and get some. I imagine that they're gonna have some sweet flavor to them. If they were savory, I think I would like them. I'd rather have it be sweet. And the only reason why is because have you ever had mac and cheese that you didn't mix so well and you get a little powder spot?
I actually like that,
I like
but
that.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And it's
Actually,
way super salty.
This argument is backfiring on you so hard.
Yeah.
No, but where it's super
Here's what
salty,
you
then
should do, AJ.
Yeah.
Go into your fridge, grab a Kraft single slice, lick both sides, dip it in sugar, and then eat that and tell me if you'll like it.
I don't have that in my fridge.
Well, go buy some.
Okay.
Go buy
do
some,
that.
lick it.
and
Dip
then
it in
you tell me
sugar.
Dip it
if
in
you
sugar,
want your
eat it.
Kraft mac and cheese candy canes to be sweet.
Well,
Doubt
a
it.
savory, a salt lick, basically, is what you're wanting?
No, a cheese lick. That's what I want. I want a cheese lick.
That's disgusting. That's like if they took string cheese and just froze it. Made it frozen.
What's wrong with a hard string cheese? I don't see any issue with that.
There's a lot of things wrong with that.
I'll bend the end.
And why do they call it American cheese? Make it into a candy cane, a little crook on it. I'd rather have it be sweet.
I feel like we're going to clash when we get these. You're not going to like it, or I'm not going to like
Fine,
it.
let's get it. Let's try it.
Okay. So we can put this to bed.
Yes. I'm trying to see if they kind of talk about the flavor. It doesn't seem like it.
No, they're leaving it a mystery.
Yeah. Sweet. Let's see. Candy canes are traditionally Christmas sweet and not a lickable, savory, hard cheese. It's basically what you guys were just saying.
Savory, yeah.
It doesn't seem like they say exactly what the flavor tastes like. So I think we should buy them. They're only $5.95 a box.
Yeah.
So we should buy them. And I'm looking at a taste test here in the next couple of weeks. Yeah,
I'm down for that.
That does say limit one per customer, so you can only buy one box. And I'm sure Amazon will.
Yeah, because you really want to buy 4 or 5.
Who knows? I might really like it. I like Kraft mac and cheese.
If I buy it, then you can still buy your own box, So, yeah.
All right. James Bond will never be a woman,
Good.
claims the producer.
A woman named James? That's ridiculous.
See, that's what I was thinking. Fine, you don't want him to be James Bond. That's fine. It doesn't mean that you can't have a spy from MI6 who happens to be a woman.
Maybe that's what he's saying.
Moneypenny? Boom.
Maybe he's saying that to get the press off his back, and he's just I'm gonna shut this down right now.
Yeah.
There will never be a woman James Bond.
And then the next
because
one
he
is.
could be making a movie for a Jane Bond,
That's true.
and he wouldn't have been lying.
That's true.
The whole idea, okay, so James Bond is basically just a name. 007 is just a number, and so anybody can like take the shoes and fill them. You know,
That is the theory, yes.
After one dies, they've kind of like gone into it, especially in the books.
Yeah.
But after one dies, another takes the mantle and takes on the persona. You know, I mean, they kind of fit the number with the person because he's always been debonair, suave, and like a man of action, whether in the bedroom or like, you know, killing people. But
Slaying people in the bedroom and on the streets.
right. But
Look, they could still make it a womanizer if it's a lesbian Jane Bond.
ooh,
It's true.
I'm actually kind of digging the idea.
Okay.
I think it'd be all right.
Now you're on board.
Hey, let's be friends, Colton. Let's be friends.
Let's be honest.
Let's be honest here.
All right. No, but yeah, I mean, it's probably because. Oh, and they said it right here with the new Doctor Who being a woman.
Yeah.
I'm sure that people are came right to him and say, "Will there ever be a woman James Bond? There's a woman Doctor Who," and he's probably like, "No."
Well, okay, that's like the same thing. Will there ever be a they have a Wonder Woman and they do have like a Supergirl, but as far as like a Superman that is a woman. Or Batman that is a woman.
No.
No.
I don't. I mean, it's because it's a character. Why do they want this to be an equality issue? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why not just make your own character that's they
Just
actually
as
do?
awesome.
Like, what's that movie?
Atomic Blonde?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie.
It was great.
Yeah, it was really good.
The soundtrack was freaking amazing too.
She's basically a female James Bond. Why don't they just go with that?
There you go. And again, I mean, just make a spy that's MI6 that you focus on instead of James Bond that happens to be a woman. It's fine. I'd probably be willing to go see it. I wouldn't care.
Pervly? Is that? Did you hear that too?
No, I'm laughing at something that I invented in my head, and I'm not going to say.
Come on, what the heck?
Instead of 007, double D7.
Double D's. Yeah.
Sorry, wife.
All right. So let's take our last break, and then when we come back, we just got just a couple things to review. You know, not big, not too bad. You'll be fine, I promise. All right.
Don't get mad, don't hold a grudge. We'll be back, so don't you budge. Here we go, back to the show. That's a fact, so now you know.
And we're back. So we
I let you have that one.
thank you. I'm glad you let me have
it.
it.
About to say something, but thought better.
All right. So we got just a couple things to review. Not me. I don't have anything to review, so it's all you guys.
Sure. Yeah. Let's hear your review of Venom, and then we'll talk about Atypical.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I saw this on Friday, I think, and it was kind of impromptu. And it's funny because I was telling my wife, and I was just like, "Hey, my coworker Brian, he said he really liked Venom. He said it was really good. I think we should go see it." And she's like, "Okay." And then like 10 minutes later, I said, "I'm going to look up showtimes." So I pull open the app, and I'm like, "Oh, they." I also heard that this movie was really good, and it was the one. Gosh, I can't remember. There's another movie out there.
Podcast brain.
Yeah, I know. It's a thing.
Was it A Star Is Born?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Because it was the first alphabetically. And I said, I also heard that A Star Is Born is good. And she's like, oh, yeah, we should see that too. And
So you went to both.
Okay. No, so I was like, okay, there's a showtime at 4:30. So we get to the theater, and the whole time she was thinking that we were going to see A Star Is Born. And I hit her with this bombshell. I didn't think it was out of nowhere that we were seeing Venom, and
Yeah,
she was, like,
Emily,
super disappointed.
We got your back, Colton.
But Anyways,
What's wrong with you, Emily?
Yeah.
so I'm sure most of you who are listening know what this movie's about.
Yeah.
Venom is a symbiote, and so it basically starts out with Eddie Brock, who is a reporter, and he has his own segment on this news channel. Basically, he's known for taking down bad guys. But he has this interview with this guy who can only be described as an Indian Elon Musk, like with everything. Like he has his own version of SpaceX and everything.
It's Indian Musk.
So the guy who told him to do the interview said, "Hey, ask him these questions and these questions only. We need to make him look good." And so Eddie does some research and he finds out some other things, and he uses those in the interview like he wasn't supposed to. He ends up getting let go, and he gets his girlfriend fired from the place that she worked at, and she represented that Indian Elon Musk. Anyways, so after some investigating, he ends up breaking into this facility where Elon Musk had these symbiotes, and it takes over him.
Yeah.
And basically the premise is Venom wants to get back to his home planet, and then his plans slowly start to change through the course of the movie, and he changes his mind. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it started out actually kind of scary. Like it seemed like it was going to be a horror film, and it wasn't until about halfway through it started to lighten up a bit, and then it got really funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dialogue between Eddie and Venom, and just their exchanges and everything that happened. And it's an action movie. That's basically all that can be said about it. But they do it in such a way that it actually feels like there's a good, compelling story going on.
Yeah.
And you're introduced to a couple characters that I wasn't familiar with. You guys might be if you read the comics for, any of the Spider-Man comics. But yeah, it was a really good movie. Had a good time, and I think that you guys would really like it.
Okay.
Tentatively, I know AJ, you're kind of skeptical about it.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence. I'll go see it for sure.
It's definitely worth a watch.
Does blink once for yes or two for no? Does the character Cletus Cassidy appear?
I don't know if they mentioned
blinking a lot
him by name or not. He may have. Is he recognizable?
You would know the name. They'd probably say his name.
Wait, which one was yes and which one was no?
Blink once for yes, two for no. Okay. All right.
Oh, man.
Okay, well, just as you were talking, I pulled this up on Rotten Tomatoes because we were talking earlier that when it comes to your reviews, you're more the audience score.
I'm the average man.
AJ and I are more of the critic score.
Mm-hmm.
Well, critics have it at 32%.
Yeah.
Audience has it at 89%. So here's some...
You really can't get more polar than that.
Yeah. Here's some critic reviews. A tone-deaf, uneven, and maddeningly dumb clunker that never settles on an identity all the way to the closing credits. It's hard to mess up a car chase up and down the streets of San Francisco, and Fleischer certainly doesn't. Though at these speeds we should be gasping and laughing instead of just nodding our heads. So there's that one. Here's a user review. Was a great fun and funny film, especially the dynamic between Venom and Eddie.
Colton rolled this.
I swear there's a point to this film where I started to imagine seeing Peter and Eddie meeting at the Daily Bugle with J.K. Simmons returning as J. Jonah. There is so much potential here, and I cannot wait for the sequel.
And that's the reason they went PG-13.
Beginning was slow, but good flick. Definitely is getting the short end of the stick with these ratings.
I heard one review, or I was listening to somebody talk about it, and they were saying, it was on a radio program, and they were talking about how they could have just used the same footage from Rampage that they did for this movie.
I didn't feel like there was much wanton destruction.
Well, just as far as it landing here on Earth. The symbiotes.
Yeah, pretty similar. So how it was is the ship is coming back from an expedition. They have these symbiotes, and then it crashes for some reason. Nobody knows why. And one of them gets out, and then they have 3 others that they have, and then they don't even talk about the one that gets out ever.
Well, it's probably going to be Carnage.
But yeah, it was a really good movie. I'll just leave it at that.
All right.
What are you giving it?
Out of 5 dead lobsters.
Okay. So we get that if we've seen the movie.
All right.
I'll give it a 2.5 or a 3.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So kind of middle of the road there.
Yeah. Well, you know how my scale is a little higher than yours.
Yes.
I'm starting to adjust my scale to fit what I think your guys's would be.
I see.
So a 3.5
is like
or
a 5.
2.5 or a 3 for you guys is more of like a 3.5 or 3 3/4 for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I'm trying to think of, have we ever given out a 5?
Yes, I have.
When was it?
Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Okay.
I gave it a 5.
We still need to see that, by the way.
Same here.
Really freaking good. But I think that's the only 5 I've given. I don't even think I wouldn't.
Cry?
Oh yeah. Big time. Yeah, I don't think I've ever given out a 5 except for that one.
So the other TV show that I finished, like, as soon as it appeared on Netflix, I'm like, all right, I gotta binge watch this, and finished it up. But then I wanted to wait for a review until Colton, because you're the one that introduced me to it in the first place.
Yeah.
The television show Atypical, and this one is basically about Sam Gardner and his family, along with him, kind of coping with this.
Yeah, adapting to his neurological disorder, which is autism.
Right.
Which is a very large spectrum. There could be a lot of high functioning and low functioning.
And he seems like a more high functioning, especially in this season. Like, he seemed way more high functioning, and you actually, I don't know, he seemed way more endearing. And he still did ask occasionally, like when he's asking about a friends with benefits kind of a situation, or just like casual. He still had some questions, but it didn't seem as forced like in the first one where he's asking, wait, do you mean this? Or, it was like every other episode that he would have a moment where he was unsure, but he seemed more focused. And this one also seemed like it was kind of leading up towards him going to college.
Yeah.
That was the kind of the whole theme here.
I'll say one thing about the actor that plays Sam. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Not only is it difficult to play a character that has autism, but to slowly increase to being more high functioning and more normal throughout the 2 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Keir Gilchrist.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Oh, I watched an interview with him and the mom in that show, and he's a freaking weird kid. He just, I don't know, something was off in that interview. They seemed really uncomfortable.
I think you'd have to be weird in a way to play that particular part that well, I think.
I'll just say I like his character more than the actual actor himself.
He's kind of doing it as far as because when I originally saw What's Eating Gilbert Grape, I did think that What's His Bucket had autism, or he was something. What's the actor's name?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Thank you. Leonardo DiCaprio.
That lesser known actor.
Yeah, I mean, that's been in a couple of roles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really did think that, he had autism or he had something, He did such a fantastic job. But that is only a couple-hour movie, where this television show, like you were saying, he has to slowly become more high-functioning. And that's a difficult task because you're trying to balance that, but at the same time, you still know that he's got certain tendencies. I even found the mom, I didn't much care for her in the first season at all. She became a little bit more endearing and making kind of more of an effort to kindle stuff with Doug.
Well, yeah, and you guys know where I stand because we've devoted half an episode to the things that completely turn us off of a TV show.
Yeah.
And one of those things for me is affairs and adultery.
Yeah.
And so I hated the mom. And I still kind of don't like her because of the first season, but I started to like her more as the second season went on.
Right. And I really think that, like, Doug's character, he kind of found his area and his niche in this season.
Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah, even the sister, she's all right. She's kind of doing her own thing now. It seems like she's kind of, but
that took an unexpected twist.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But I really did like how her sister still continues to tease him, and she doesn't let up because he's got autism.
Yeah, she treats him like a brother.
Exactly.
Like the toothbrush thing. Oh man, I love that.
Kept moving the toothbrush. He's like, "Who keeps moving my toothbrush? Who keeps taking it?" Like getting all pissed off about that. Yeah, that's something like a sibling would do.
Yeah,
for sure. And yeah, it's a really good,
it's a great show. Season. If you guys haven't seen Atypical, even season 1, we definitely recommend. It's worth a watch.
Oh, for sure.
I guess I'll have to check it out.
And then same with The Good Doctor. It's kind of along the same lines.
I've not seen that one just yet.
Oh man, you need to. It's
really?
It's like the same, but for a kid who is a doctor. Like he's a resident at a hospital.
This is the kid that was
Freddie
in
Highmore.
Yeah. From Bates Motel.
Yep.
August Rush.
And Charlie and Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, very fantastic actor too.
Yeah.
Like they both do a really good job at portraying that neurological disorder.
All right. Yeah, there you go. Also, really quick, let's just briefly mention again our fantasy movie league.
Yes.
We're all signed up now, the 3 of us. So, yeah, and AJ beat me this week.
Just by, what, 6 million?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Well, because, and we were talking about this before, I kind of go the direction more of like fantasy football. I take it from a fantasy football kind of perspective that you want to find these underdogs that you're not going to have to pay much money to get on your team. And then that they're going to overperform. Like if they're playing against a team that's like horrible on defense, you want to find like a running back that's just going to like gain tons of yards.
Yeah, and so like we said, we're doing this to one kind of have it's kind of fun to make your movie picks, but 2, it's kind of to build this little community,
more camaraderie.
Yeah, and so here's what you got to do. The steps to do is really easy. Download the Fantasy Movie League app, register for it, click Join the League, and search WWG Podcast and click on it. In the top right-hand corner, click join and put in the password StayGeeky3. All right?
With a capital S.
With a capital S. And then you'll be signed up with the league. And so what happens is the picks open up on Monday evening, and you have, 8 screens?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can pick from
variety of movies.
Yeah, it's like a pool of
12.
I think it's like 12 or 15 in between there. And you have $1,000 to spend, and each movie is given a dollar amount.
Yes.
So like the bigger blockbusters, like this week would be Venom. That was like
$700.
Yeah. You're guaranteed to make money, but that was the only movie you could pick.
Right.
So you're going to have a lower box office. But yeah. So, you make your picks during the week. Picks close on Friday. And then you kind of see during the week kind of how you're doing. It'll send you notifications.
Kind of updates. Saying like, this one did pretty well. Yeah. Yeah,
so for this week, AJ had, his box office was 73,800,000.
Yes.
Mine was 70,600,000. So you barely beat me.
Crazy.
So so download it, register, join our league. We'll have some fun. You can win stuff. If our league does really well, we can win stuff. Free movie tickets, that sort of thing. They were giving away a Venom mask this week, signed by Stan Lee.
Geez.
Yeah. So there are prizes involved. It doesn't cost you anything. It's completely free, and just sign up and FML. All right. So here's where you can find us. You can find all of our episodes at worldwarg.podbean.com. You can also find us on iTunes, Google Play, and CosmicPotato.com. On social media, we're on Facebook.com/World War G Podcast. We also have the World War G 2 page on Facebook. We're on Twitter and Instagram. Just search at WWG Podcast. You can find all of our merchandise, which we've been talking. There's more coming. More designs, more stuff coming in our store, which is at shop.spreadshirt.com/World War G. You can email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. Also remember, you can call or text the show at any time for any reason at 385-240-1692. So this has been World War G episode 193. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
And I've been Colton.
Stay geeky, my friends. And, FML.
That's all, folks.